I am now joined by Adlita Garhalwa, the representative-elect from Arizona's 7th Congressional District. Thank you so much for taking the time to be here.
Thanks for having me.
It's been 44 days since your election and you still have not been sworn in to begin. Can you explain why the swearing in has not happened yet?
You know, you'd have to ask Speaker Johnson specifically the reason. I mean, I can tell you all the excuses he's given. One, my race wasn't certified. And then it was, we need to wait until the government reopens because now we're in a shutdown. We can't swear someone in during pro forma. But we know that all of those excuses have already been debunked. At this point, the only thing that distinguishes me from Representative Walkinshaw, who was sworn in on September 10th, is that he was signer 217 and I'll be 218 in the discharge petition for the Epstein files.
Have you had any chance to speak with Mike Johnson in person, or has he avoided you up to this point?
He has ducked. I called twice, sent a letter, and then our attorney general sent a letter, a demand letter. By that time, it had already been 4 weeks, and he has not contacted me, has never communicated with me. And I thought it was interesting when he said that, the two Republican uh, now representatives that were sworn in a special on April 2nd, that they scheduled an appointment because I'm like, well, how did they get you on the phone? Because I would love that option.
Is there a part of you that want to go to Washington DC and confront him face to face?
At this point, we've already filed suit, so I don't want to be able to add to any of the misrepresentation or that he's already, sort of thrown out there about me. And I think that everything at this point, from this point on until it's resolved legally, I don't want to have any face-to-face conversations with him.
So, why do you think it's so important to Mike Johnson? Assuming that's the reason, I did not want to jump to conclusion, but it's hard to see another explanation. He seems fine swearing in Republicans during pro forma session. Those who votes could bring a discharge petition to 217, which does not even force a vote. Yet he certainly hesitates when it comes to swearing in the 218th member. Why do you think Mike Johnson is so determined to keep this from reaching the floor?
I think that he's had some pretty clear direction from the White House. So, like, we don't want to see this because if we remember when Trump was running for office, releasing the Epstein files was a really big deal. I mean, that was something he was going to do on day one. And here we are. And I think what happened is they got a little gander of what was really in the files and thought, maybe that's not a good idea. And if we notice, Speaker Johnson ended votes a week early, sent everyone home a week early to avoid a vote on the Epstein files. So that seems to be the common denominator. I'm like, I didn't want to assume. I really didn't know him. But it has been fairly surprising how easily, with a straight face, he can just lie and leave facts. It's been really fascinating to watch.
What strikes me most about all of this, and I had like to hear your thoughts, is that he presents himself as a deeply pious man, yet for someone who bases much of his identity on his Christian faith on devotion, it seems contradictory to put himself at the forefront of protecting Donald Trump from being implicated in a pedophile ring. Do you not see an inherent conflict between these two things?
I do. I don't know how he doesn't. I mean, to me, one of the things that he said early on was that the reason why he swore in the two Republicans in a pro forma session, which they never do, and he would never do now, is because they brought their families and scheduled an appointment. I'm like, how do I schedule an appointment? I have 3 kids, a husband, we're ready to go. Let me know when. And at this point, it's every day of this delay that this delay continues. Constituents are not only denied representation in Congress, but they're also denied access to critical services. And so more and more, I keep talking about this is annoying to me. It's frustrating to me, mostly because I can't serve the constituents that sent me to DC.
And that's what I want to dig into, because from our national perspective, it's easy and frankly commendable to focus on how Mike Johnson has made himself a central figure in the cover up surrounding the absent file. But the reality is, you have around 7 lakh to 8 lakh constituents who are directly affected by this.
Almost 813,000 people.
That's 813,000 people left without any representation in Congress. And that's not even considering that Mike Johnson is preventing anyone from representing their constituents right now because he and the other Republicans refuse to extend the ACA subsidies need to secure Democrats' votes to reopen the government. Can you give us some sense of what that situation is like, knowing that over 8 lakh people have no representation?
Well, it's also coupled by the fact that my dad represented this district for 22 years and was known for amazing constituent services. So they go to his old office that has a sign on the door and actually a black ribbon on it that says, this office is closed. And so that is so upsetting to me that people are going to get help from and the Grijalva that can help them is unable to. I think that when you look at the overall and the people that need help with their VA benefits, with immigration issues. We have the 3 ports of entry with Mexico and Arizona in CD7. We have people that live in poverty, one of the states that utilizes SNAP the most of any. I mean, we need help here in Arizona. And for me not to be able to stand up for them, not be able to sign a lease to open up an office, not be able to get like the phones turned on, that I cannot tell you like how much it hurts me because I see the people every day that said, mijita, fui a la oficina de tu papá, pero no estabas. Like, I went to your dad's office and you weren't there. They don't understand that they did their job. They elected me. Now they want me to do mine. And try to explain to someone who needs help what, like, well, I really can't because I don't have a budget. Care? They just want the help. I want to be able to do my job. And I cannot do it because he's not letting me.
That's really just a small part of much larger problem, not just with Mike Johnson, but with the broader Republican Party and the Trump administration. There are countless people begging for help, and Trump and the Republican gain power by exploiting that vulnerability. They claim to understand the struggle people face, difficulty affording rent, groceries, even eggs, going so far as to references the price of the eggs themselves. But once in power, they manipulated people instead of addressing these issues. They engaged in trade war that drove prices up, failed to protect healthcare, stripped Medicaid for 17 million Americans, and jeopardized ACA subsidies for 42 million people. Food assistance program were cut by 350 billion dollar. Meanwhile, Trump indulged in personal extravagance, remodeling the Lincoln bathroom with a marble, tearing down part of the White House to build a 350 million ballroom, buying 172 million Gulfstream jets for himself and his family, and acquiring a Qatari jet costing $1 billion, all paid for by the taxpayer. The Oval Office was gilded, and a few days ago, he even threw a Gatsby theme party at Mar-a-Lago. So, what does it say to you when people in your district need help? You cannot get it, not only because the government is shutting down, but because Mike Johnson prioritized defending Trump against pedophile ring accusation overall, allowing you to be fully sworn in as a member of Congress. Meanwhile, these leaders are completely immersed in their own opulent lifestyle.
It is definitely like a let them eat cake moment when people are literally starving. And I was at a distribution with Community Food Bank here locally, giving out food boxes to federal workers. These are people that are gainfully employed, working every day, never thinking that they would need food assistance to make sure that their families can eat. These people have not gone into a grocery store and I don't even know how long. They are so far removed from the average American. And when you look at the state of our economy and the promises that were made by this administration, you would think that, by deporting so many people that our economy would get stronger. Those of us that know better can literally see what's happening. Nobody thinks our economy is stronger. And Trump and his cronies are enriching themselves billions of dollars. I just don't understand why more people are not talking about their crypto money and, the literally there should be a sign at the White House that says justice for sale, se vende. You give me enough money and I'll take you out. I'll take your friend out of prison. I'll get rid of that, pesky little let's just get rid of all of that. And also, let's go after public media. Let's go after the arts. Let's go after public education. Let's go after like anybody that is not agreeing with me and drinking the Kool-Aid and pledging allegiance to Trump. If you don't pledge allegiance to Trump, you're the anti. And when you listen to Speaker Johnson and some of these other Republicans talk about the wins that happened on Tuesday, it's like, well, we knew they're Marxists, they're communists, they're this and that. I'm like, their agenda is all about working people, housing, feeding, like early childhood education. Those are enriching programs, but they're not money makers that Trump wants. So he's not going to push that agenda. He'd rather give away 40 billion with a B dollars to Argentina than give it to the people in this community that need it.
But something about America first on the point.
It's made in another country. Fine. Go ahead and slap that on there.
On the topic of the recent election just few days ago, do you buy into the talking point Republicans are pushing now? I have seen it from party official and on the Fox News. The idea that it's not really surprising because it's just a few blue states and blue cities, and that everything is going exactly as expected. So there's no need to change course.
I would love them to do exactly what they're keep doing it. Do it, do it. Because what we're going to continue to do is organize. We're going to continue to talk to voters. We're going to continue to talk to people. And the Democratic Party needs to look at what is resonating. It's a working people agenda. It's talking about what is making it more difficult for the next generation to advance. I mean, every generation, especially in our family, my tata was a bracero, came from Mexico with a promise of a job and an opportunity for a better life. And my dad was a member of Congress in one generation. Like that, those stories are not that rare when you look at the advances that people in our community, people that I live with all around us, look at that. Look at like it's an immigrant story because everything in this nation is built on immigrant labor, immigrant input, immigrant smarts. I mean, that's what makes us is supposed to be this melting pot. But for Trump's America, if you look like me, if you speak Spanish, if you're from a different country, if your parents were from a different country, let me try to figure out a way to stop you. Let me try to figure out a way to halt you because what I want to be able to do, if I'm a Trump and supporters like him, I want to step on my back to be able to get up higher. That's what they've been able to do. They want to roll us back to a time when America was great. It was great for white men. It wasn't great for the rest of us. And it wasn't great for working people. It wasn't great for people living in poverty. And so what we need to do is look at how many people are utilizing these ACA subsidies? How many people, like almost a million people, just in my community that need SNAP benefits, that are working people? That's a problem that we need to address as the Democratic Party and get a platform together on how we're going to address the working poor.
Do you think the way Donald Trump has targeted communities of color with IC reflects the some kind of disregard that allows him, Mike Johnson, and the rest of the Republican conference to so easily block you from taking your seat?
Oh, completely, completely. Because what I think is happening is that there are a lot of people with buyer's remorse right now. People are very upset. They're like, well, especially people that are now reaching out to me saying, well, I voted for you because I voted for Trump last time and I don't know what I was thinking. I'm like, I don't either. But thank you for like seeing what's happening here. I mean, here in our community, just like you see them masked up and in plain clothes in New York and Chicago, they're targeting immigrant communities so they can make them afraid. I can't tell you how many people reached out to me and said, I have to vote at home. I don't want to go into the poll. Scared, right? I mean, this suppression, you can feel it here in my community, especially in every other immigrant community. And it is for those of us that have the privilege of being able to stand up and with full chest say this is not okay. We have to do it more and more for those people that cannot.
I really appreciate your voice, and I know I speak for countless people who feel the same way. Thank you for being so outspoken and for taking the fight directly to Mike Johnson and the other Republicans, Edlita Halva. I hope to see you in Congress soon. Until then, we will keep shouting from the rooftops about exactly why Republicans are trying to keep you from having a voice there.